At the TDSB, we are very proud of our French as a Second Language programs. Not only does learning a second language open a student's world to other cultures and experiences, it opens doors of opportunity, makes it easier to learn a third or fourth language, and the skills and abilities developed while learning their second language enhance the student's skills and abilities in their first language. We believe strongly that all students are capable of learning a second or third language, and so we encourage and welcome all students regardless of learning styles and linguistic background to study in our French programs. These programs are all designed for children whose families speak a language other than French at home. There is no need for the parents to speak French in the home in order for children to be successful in French as a Second Language programs. There are 3 ways to learn French at the TDSB. The 3 programs are Core French, Middle French Immersion, and Early French Immersion. Core French is the program that all students in Ontario must follow. This program begins in grade 4 and continues throughout elementary school to grade 8. This program usually involves 1 period per day of French instruction of roughly 40 minutes. There is 1 compulsory credit in French as a second language at the secondary level in order for a student to earn their Ontario Secondary School's diploma. This compulsory credit is usually taken in grade 9. However, many secondary schools offer Core French to the end of grade 12. In this program, students learn about the language and Francophone cultures, as well as strategies and skills to communicate in French. There are 2 programs we offer that we consider intensive language programs: the Early French Immersion and the Middle French Immersion program. The focus of both these programs is not just learning the language, but also applying it immediately in other contexts, that is to say the subject areas, and thereby increasing students' confidence and proficiency as they learn and move through the programs. Both Early and Middle French Immersion are intensive programs in this way. In both Early and Middle French Immersion, students learn the same curriculum as their counterparts in the English program, just with the language of instruction in the classroom being French during the parts of the day dedicated to French. The Middle French Immersion program is available across the system to students currently in grade 3 English, and it has very strong outcomes in terms of language proficiency and academic achievement. By the end of grade 12, students in the Middle French Immersion program develop strong literacy and communication skills in French. The Middle French Immersion program begins in grade 4 and offers a 100% model of instruction in French for grades 4 and 5, with all subjects taught in French. However, some specialist subjects, like physical education, may be taught in English. Grades 6, 7, and 8 offer 75% of the day in French and 25% of the day in English. Subjects taught in French are French language, math, social studies, and the arts. Subjects taught in English are English language and science. Students in Middle French Immersion will merge with Early French Immersion students beginning in grade 9. Students may continue this program through grade 12 and graduate with a Certificate of Bilingual Studies in French Immersion, based on the completion of 10 credits in French. The Early French Immersion program begins in junior kindergarten. Families apply to the program the year their child is 3 years old. The program provides a 100% model of French instruction in junior and senior kindergarten, grades 1, 2, and 3. However, some specialist subjects like phys ed may be taught in English. Formal English instruction is introduced in grade 4 for about 20% of the day, or about 40 to 60 minutes, and it increases to 50% of the day in French and 50% of the day in English for grades 6 through 8. Students may continue in French immersion at the secondary level and complete a Certificate of Bilingual Studies in French immersion based on the completion of 10 credits in French. At the start, teachers use a variety of strategies to bring beginning language learners along to a place where they understand all communications in French and in a relatively short period of time are able to respond to the teacher and peers in French.
Combien de boutons reste-t-il?
At the beginning of the entry grade of each program, that is, kindergarten and grade 4, the educators in the room speak entirely in French and the children respond and speak to each other in English. Partway through that first year of kindergarten or grade 4, the teacher begins to encourage the children to speak to him or her in French while allowing the children to speak to each other in English. Towards the end of the entry year, you will hear French as the exclusive language of communication between the teacher and the students and among the students themselves, and this is how the students continue throughout their French immersion career. For information and application to French immersion, please visit tdsb.on.ca/French. The application window for early French immersion is in November, and the application window for middle French immersion is in January. Please refer to the website in early September to be sure of the application deadlines for a given year. All applicants who apply by the deadline are guaranteed an offer of placement in the French immersion program. It is important to note that while placement in the program is guaranteed, a placement in a particular school cannot be guaranteed. Every effort is made to accommodate all applicants in the school associated with their home address. However, in some cases, there are more applications than available spaces in a given French immersion school. In that case, families may be offered a placement at the next closest French immersion school with available space, and the child's name would be held on a waitlist for the originally designated school. Siblings have a priority placement in the same school as their older sibling, providing that they apply on time and the children will be in the same French program at the same school at the same time. Parents will be offered a placement via the email they provided at the time of application. Parents must take action to accept the placement online. A non-reply will be taken as a no thank you, and the space may be given away. Placements are determined based on the child's home address at the time of the application deadline. Families who move between the initial offer of placement and the start of the following school year are not guaranteed a placement in their new area school. They will be admitted there if there is space available. Once the application process is complete and all offers of placement have been made, families will be invited by the French immersion school to come in and register their child in person. For more information about the French programs and the application process, please visit tdsb.on.ca/French.
What are the benefits of French immersion?
Learning a second language is an advantage for students, and studies show it is a key factor in academic success. A second language enhances overall skills in learning, expands career opportunities, promotes understanding among cultures, and creates multilingual world citizens. Students' skills in the dominant language, English in this case, are often enhanced through the study of other languages.
How will the children begin to speak French?
French immersion teachers use a range of strategies to promote understanding without resorting to translation into English, such as using gestures, repetition, facial expressions, and visual cues like pictures. The teacher speaks French to the children 100% of the time. At the start, the teacher will allow the children to speak to him or her and to each other in English. Slowly, the children begin to use key classroom phrases in French. The teacher will then insist that the children speak French to him or her while allowing them to speak English to each other. And finally, the children will be speaking French to the teacher and with each other. This usually happens towards the end of the senior kindergarten year. From this point on, French is the exclusive language of communication inside the classroom during the times dedicated to French instruction.
Will my child's learning in English be affected?
Both the French immersion and extended French programs are successful because literacy skills transfer from one language to another. We know that students in French immersion do as well, if not better, than students in the general population on measures of English achievement, such as the EQAO testing in grade 6 and the Ontario Literacy Test in grade 10.
What if I don't speak French at home?
All French as a Second Language programs are designed for families who do not speak French at home. Families may support their children in French immersion in much the same way they would in the English program. It is not necessary that a parent speak French for a child to thrive in French immersion.
I don't speak French at home. How can I help my child with homework?
The TDSB homework policy states that homework may begin to take the form of written work towards the end of grade 3. Once independent work begins coming home, this work is meant to be reinforcement or practice of concepts mastered already at school. With that in mind, the best way for a parent to support their child with their homework would be to demonstrate an interest in the child's schoolwork by asking questions about it, set up a space at home and a routine for homework completion. If a child is struggling with a particular task, to let the teachers know that the child made an attempt to complete the homework but requires additional follow-up at school to master the concept. This advice would apply in both the English and the French immersion programs.
Is childcare offered?
Information about childcare can be obtained at your French immersion school at the time of registration.
What if my child is not placed at the school I expected or wanted?
All families who are redirected to a school other than the school associated to their home address will be held on a randomized waitlist. It is important to note that over 90% of students are placed in the school associated with their home address.
How are redirections determined?
Siblings of students attending the same program in the same school have priority placement at that school, provided an application is submitted on time following the same processes. If redirection to another French immersion school is necessary, all the families in a given English school catchment area will be offered a space at the next closest school with French immersion. For more information about the French programs and the application process, please visit tdsb.on.ca/French.